Hello, my name is Damaris, and this is my final microfinancing project presentation. And in this project, I will be focusing on small business model and what it entails of. So the end goal of this project is to emphasize on the importance of credit lending and establish both benefits and cost, informing the viewer the type of credit lending that is best for their business needs. The reason I chose to focus on smaller business model is mainly because when I was growing up, both family members and family friends were owners of smaller businesses in which I am very familiarized with. I value smaller businesses because I am aware of the struggles that come along with being a smaller entrepreneur. To add to my reasoning, I have also found that smaller businesses tend to demonstrate their values and beliefs more than bigger firms. I value this because oftentimes many firms tend to put aside their core beliefs in order to assimilate to the current social norms. Unfortunately, oftentimes smaller businesses, specifically in the US, aren't aware of the full resources available to them, causing discouragement and at times failure as a result of the ignorance that many smaller businesses tend to have. My target audience will be small entrepreneurs based in the US, primarily because I would like to see the development of smaller businesses via lending. The reason I chose to focus on small entrepreneurs within the US is due to the lack of emphasis and information that is available in textbooks. We often see how bigger corporations are able to enjoy the full scope of trading along with the benefits they're able to get, but there is a lack of information on how exactly firms are able to step foot within foreign trade. This is especially meaningful given to how impactful smaller businesses can be both in the economy and in foreign trade. The microfinance project will help small businesses determine what is the ideal credit lending resource. Not only will they gain further insight as to how they are able to access lending resources, but determine what kind of lending best suits them, all while specifying how smaller businesses within the U.S. associate with global trade and are able to get the full scope of it. Given that our focus will be on smaller businesses residing within the U.S., it would be ideal to find capital via debt, friends and family, and angels investors so-called. Equity capital is an option, but given that small businesses operate at a much smaller magnitude, this would not be ideal if the firm would like to have full control. However, if the firm is willing to give up some control to obtain capital, they will greatly benefit from this. Debt capital is able to be obtained directly from a bank that is lended out in the form of a loan. Both the lender and borrower must come to a mutual agreement on what type of loan while also determining interest rate, maturity date, and the amount of the loan. For capital requirements, this would include anything that would cover initial startup costs as well as any fixed and variable costs, one-time or continuous cost, labor costs, and so on. This is important to be addressed, especially if the firm sees themselves entering into the global trade market. What smaller businesses within the US can do in order to have predetermined success is to begin integrating investment goals such as return on investment and being able to forecast future sales and profits. In addition, they can also adopt the idea of continuous investments and innovation that will also lead to future success, all while analyzing financial statements and determining where outflows are going. This will further guide us to either raise or cut costs that will lead to the firm to be successful in the future. As far as my personal views on determining the practices in corporate responsibility, I want to integrate integrity and structure when it comes to my practices and corporate responsibility. Having integrity and structure is crucial because it brings clarity and ease when it comes to everyday work. When an organization lacks this, it brings confusion and inability to pinpoint issues and raises a lack of harmony within the work environment. While having all these traits in mind, a business is able to flourish and have the ability to grow while still adequately operate efficiently. Smaller businesses within the U.S. are more prone to be faced with risk and challenges that if it's not addressed correctly, it can cause failure within the business. Given the knowledge and expertise, it would be ethical to guide smaller businesses in what would be the best recommendations. This would consist of analyzing business plans and pinpointing strengths and weaknesses that would allow room for risk. determining if the amount of capital debt is a realistic amount that will lead to business failure, emphasizing the importance of analyzing financial statements that would allow us to assess what improvements or changes the firm is able to incorporate. When it comes to hiring choices and ideal traits, we are able to measure this by measuring the turnover rate, job performance, and employee engagement. With these metrics, we are able to measure if the hiring choices that are in place are efficient. Another way to measure hiring choices is to determine how long it takes to hire someone, known as cost per hire. This will further give us insight as to how much it is costing for the firm to hire and the amount of time it's costing them. So what does the Bible teach us in regards to helping the undeserving population? In Proverbs 31 verse 8 through 9 states, "Speak up for those who can speak for themselves, for the right of all of those who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy." This easily signals us that it is important as Christians to implement this in all of our business practices. Not only will this benefit the entirety of the organization, but it will also give the ability to do much more than simply make money. When it comes to incorporating my Christian views while working with smaller businesses, I don't necessarily believe that smaller businesses are an undeserving population, considering that there are developing countries who have it much worse. However, I do consider the fact that they have less opportunities compared to bigger firms. So in that manner, I think that it's always important to be driven by truth. Many tend to set aside their core values for money or for external validation. However, it is important to always be spirit-led and not allow Christian values to be compromised. Similarly, my expectations will be the same for partner companies relative to ethical and corporate responsibility, being motivated by wanting to be a positive impact while upholding their own values and beliefs.